Welcome to another Keelhauled podcast. I'm your host, CaptainLogun, and we've got another Sea of Thieves news update to give you some more context about what's going on with this update. But as you can tell, this is not a normal update intro, so I wanted to introduce again Captain Falcore. How you doing, mate?
Hiya!
Hi.
How's it going?
How's
it going?
It's going great. Appreciate it. It's really nice to have you here today. We're going to be talking about Sea of Thieves, I believe.
That's a good game, that one is.
I heard it was. Lots of things are going on in Sea of Thieves, and I figured I'd have a little sit-down chat with you and see if we can maybe kind of pass some of this out. What do you say?
That sounds... Well, is it on Nintendo Switch yet?
No.
No, and I can't be bothered, quite frankly. I'm going to go. I'll see you later.
Okay, have a good one. Bye.
Brilliant.
So as you guys know, if you're listening to this, Falcore has been on the show a few times. If you don't know who he is, what are you doing with your life? Go on YouTube and search Sea of Thieves. He's the first one with big rant summit explanation video right there, so just go ahead and watch that, get a good idea on what's going on with Falcore, and just search YouTube Sea of Thieves Captain Falcore. So obviously we're going to be sitting down to chat about the black powder stashes, but we've got a lot more that we want to talk about, as well as some nice lore speculation for those of you lore hounds out there. There's some cool stuff coming down the line, and Falcore and I have been chatting quite a bit about what it could mean for the game. So how are you doing, by the way? How's your
I'm good.
Been hanging
out?
Just
as I said earlier on before we started, I'm suffering from a hangover, but don't drink, kids. Never drink. But yeah, apart from that, no, I'm good. The games treat me well, weather's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Black Powder Stashes is out, and you've been enjoying it, yeah?
Mm-hmm. Yes, intensely. You could say it's quite an explosive, explosive event.
Yeah, really charged event, definitely.
Yeah.
So, I've been playing a little bit of it, and for those of you guys haven't jumped in yet, Black Powder Stashes is out. This is another event very similar to the mercenary runs, with Duke the Dark Lord sending us out to get powder kegs and lost shipments of merchant crates, as well as Mermaid Gems. So we're going to go ahead and start with the patch notes. I just kind of want to break down a lot of the changes that came with it, but to kind of start off, Black Powder Stashes, if you haven't heard, is all about getting powder kegs. And Falcore, you've actually done more of the mainline Reapers and regular quests and stuff, whereas I've just ran around and gathered a bunch of regular powder kegs and merchant gems. So can you kind of let the folks know what to expect with the Reapers runs?
Intense fear, lots of messing up, lots of explosions.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, sounds about right. And then literally being completely smothered with mermaid gems on a regular basis. Your ship looks fantastic after about 2 hours.
So would you say that you could almost bejeweled out your sloop if you go long enough?
Yes. Yes, you really could. Yeah.
That's good to know. I'm gonna have to do that. So there are a few different Reapers runs out at Duke the Dark Lord. So go to any tavern, he'll teleport there somehow, and he'll offer you some doubloons, or he'll offer you some voyages in exchange for doubloons. Most are, I think, 5 doubloons for the regular ones. Yes.
Yeah, I think the Reaper runs are 10, and then the regional ones are 5.
Yeah, so it's pretty low price considering the amount of doubloons you can get from completing them, especially the repeatable ones. And as always, Duke's gonna send you out into the world and have you go from fort to fort to fort, heading from either east to west or west to east, and one out in the roar to pick up powder kegs. And a lot of these are buried on the forts, and this is something that's new to the game. We've never had, like, I've seen powder kegs like on the beach, just kind of washed up, like half kind of sunk into the sand, but we're proper digging up gunpowder barrels in merchant quests, and that's kind of weird to me. Like, I was kind of joking with my crew the other night that it's a good thing that shovels aren't the same type of shovel from the game's Shovel Knight, because otherwise it would be considered a weapon and would cause the powder kegs to explode. But how do you feel about this? Do you think we're going to be getting powder kegs on cargo runs that you can dig up now? Do you think they might adjust the merchant quests?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I mean, there's one thing that I've noticed is when you take on a merchant quest, has that changed recently? You never used to get gunpowder barrels on merchant. No, it has changed, hasn't it? You do get gunpowder barrels now on merchant quests. You've got to go and pick up. Yeah. But it may be, that would be quite nice actually, having merchant missions that a little bit more like gold hoarder missions. So they actually give you an X marks the spot on forts. That would be quite cool. But that's something like that would be a nice addition.
Yeah, I've been thinking about like how they could kind of adjust the merchant voyages so that, you know, you've got a merchant like instead, not like a cargo and not an animal one, but an actual like merchant where you go out and it gives you a bunch of X marks the spots, and you go out and you dig up a bunch of merchant chests or crates and gunpowder barrels, and you have a chance at higher levels to dig up a mega keg. And they're just taking this functionality and rolling it into an already existing trade company. And then I was also thinking that because you're turning in these powder kegs to the different trade companies, that some of the gold hoarder missions could start implementing kegs as well. And that way, instead of just digging up just chests, you have a chance to dig up different types of gunpowder barrels. And that those gunpowder barrels, if found from the actual voyage, might be worth more than just a standard barrel.
Yeah. And there was one thing I was a bit disappointed with, actually, is that I was expecting a new type of gunpowder barrel with this event. Because we've got the really, really strong one, and we got the regular one. I was really hopeful that they were going to add sort of a banger rather than an actual gunpowder barrel. So something that could potentially put a hole in a boat, but wouldn't be enough to sink it. You know what I mean? So, and something a lot smaller, essentially like a something about the size of a skull, but you know, it's got gunpowder barrels. It's got gunpowder inside it, so it blows up.
Oh man,
sort of like a grenade, but you can't throw it.
That would be so cool to see, like, if they could actually use an actual skull and just know that it had like little flaming eyes, like it was a magical skull, but it had like little flaming eyes, and it had a little fuse, like little boop, right on top of the head. And you could light that cool. And then drop it somewhere, and it would just be one hole, but it would be something that you could have in your inventory. That would be awesome.
Yeah. Because I think a lot of people have said they wanted grenades, but I think in some ways, especially in adventure mode, that would be quite overpowered. But having a sort of, like you said, something you can hold in your inventory and you can place somewhere would be not so overpowered. So a little skull or a coconut full of gunpowder.
Yeah, that's a thing. Like, wait, wow, how did we not get to that sooner? They should just make little coconut grenades, and there's ones that you eat and there's ones that you don't want to eat. That makes total sense.
And even make it so you can accidentally eat the gunpowder ones and it kills you. That would be kind of a cool thing to do. You could go on some of these ships and sabotage all their coconuts.
Just start replacing them with grenade
so
coconuts.
You're in PvP with a guy, you just see him chomp down on his coconut and his head explodes. That'd be so great. It would be so good.
Oh god, that'd be awesome. I love it. Oh man. So to kind of get back on track, the trade companies are taking gunpowder barrels. This is kind of weird. I noticed when reading through the patch notes as I was making the show notes last night, that it talks about how the trade companies are looking to stockpiling defenses. And I'm kind of, I remember a while back when we were kind of speculating a bit about what could be coming down the line. You and I both agree that we think we're going to be dealing with mermaids. And I'm wondering if we're not going to be expecting some sort of war to come.
Yeah.
And this was something that it was interesting because we, and I want to get your thoughts on this as well, too. I'll just kind of lay it out and see what you think. We got the Sea of Thieves Origins book that was leaked on Amazon and Comixology here. And I was reading through it, and now with the mysterious stranger having different dialogue, I'm starting to wonder if we're going to start to see another threat come into Sea of Thieves as opposed to something that was already here in the form of the Grand Maritime Union. And I wonder, what do you think? No.
I mean, because I mean, the Grand Maritime Union has been sort of mentioned in the comic books and other various sources before, but I think, to my knowledge, I think this is the first time it's been mentioned in the game, unless if I'm missing something.
I don't think so.
It's such a such a poignant thing for the mysterious stranger to say. Another thing I noticed is that he only says that if you're a pirate legend as well.
Oh, interesting.
Because on my alternative character, he just does the normal poem saying about your levels in different guilds and stuff. But if you're a pirate legend, he just says about you don't want to go down the route of the Grand Maritime Union. And I mean, if it was I'd love a mermaid war. Don't get me wrong, that'd be great. But if it was those, I don't think gunpowder barrels would be the way to fend them off, so to speak. So they're definitely they're definitely getting prepared for something that's big on the horizon. Yeah. I mean, it might not be the Grand Maritime Union. It might be a completely different threat altogether. I don't know. But it's just, with the mysterious stranger just suddenly saying that, it does sort of all add up a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think they mentioned it in a podcast as well, didn't they? Not a podcast. It was at Comic-Con. I think Mike Chapman said, in the future of Sea of Thieves, we won't see what will come in through we don't know what will come in through the shroud. And, he was talking about, the trading vessels that are interested in the Sea of Thieves, and the only reason they can't get there is because their ships are too big and they can't bring a huge force through and all at once. So maybe and now with all the Shroud Breaker stuff, maybe we're going to see them using the Shroud Breaker and coming through with that. So who knows?
Yeah, and it's interesting because that comic definitely kind of showed off some of the faults of the mentality behind the GMU, and because of that, it's something that I wonder if they're going to want to, like any good company, they always have checks and balances for their investments, and having a huge armada disappear as they were heading towards the Sea of Thieves, I can imagine a GMU wanting to find out what happened with that eventually. So I could definitely see them coming to Sea of Thieves as a threat, and having the trade companies have to try and band together to preserve the nature of the Sea of Thieves that we currently have right now. And But okay, so scrap that. We didn't even talk about it. I want to hear your thoughts on, you know what? I'm going to save the Dark Relic stuff for later on, because I want to keep going through the thing, but pin that, folks. Keep that in mind as we talk about it, because I want to come back to that later on, and cover what's left to cover in the update. We had kind of talked about this previously with our experiences, but Mermaid Gems are flipping everywhere. It's it's insane. It's amazing. I love it. I haven't been this happy to run into a whole bunch of Mermaid Gems since ever. I don't think I've ever been this excited. And this is something like this is, you could just find them everywhere. They've totally ramped up the amount of junk that you can find in shipwrecks and on beaches, on forts. I think I took a screenshot of the captain's cabin for a shipwreck, and let me find it real quick. I kid you not, this shipwreck had a foul skull, a ruby mermaid gem, a barnacled captain's chest, a barnacled castaway chest, and a crate of spices just in the captain's cabin.
Yeah, I actually found a stronghold barrel in a shipwreck the other night. I didn't
you?
even know that was a thing. Yeah.
Oh,
I was
crazy!
like, oh, hello. I shall take you.
That's insane. It's the one that didn't do it in. That's so funny.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I've been, if you guys head out into the seas, you're definitely going to notice a lot more treasure just kind of looming around. So, like, get used to needing those treasure chests that you can find that you can stick stuff in, because those are going to be a lot more valuable as time goes on. Obviously, with the mercenary missions, you're not just going out to do this for fun. There's rewards. So there's a whole bunch of doubloons that you can earn, as well as titles, as well as the final round of cosmetics for the Reaper's Mark stuff. We finally got the mercenary figurehead, which is a huge scorpion. Looks sick. I love it. I think it's amazing looking. And I mentioned on a stream the other night with someone that it does kind of look a little bit comical, like you've run over the scorpion and he's holding on for dear life. It's the front of the grill and he's just God.
He's just like, oh God.
I didn't want this to happen. I was just asking for a lift to the nearest island.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Either that or he's like kind of falling off the edge and he's deathly afraid of water and he's just clinging on the front. That's true. I hadn't thought about that. Which kind of makes me think of oh gosh, what was it? The ocean crawler set where the crab is like climbing. Now he looks like he got ran over, but he's actually trying to get on board to stop you from going. If we did get crabs in the game, do you think they'd be about his size? Do you think that would be an accurate representation?
Yeah, I mean, I don't. It's funny because I mean, you're looking at like cave paintings and stuff of the crabs. It does show that there must have been at some point, unless if they were extremely high at the time, which most ancients were.
Yeah.
That there was a very, very large crab, and it used to fling them around. So I don't know. I definitely think we're going to see crabs come to Sea of Thieves at some point, whether that be like as pets or as a merchant commodity, or even, like a huge crab boss or something, or not necessarily a emergent threat in the seas. It could be an emergent threat on the land. That would be a nice thing actually to have something to fight on land rather than fighting, in the ocean all the time. But I think we'll see them at some point in some shape or form.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to the opportunity to be able to have some different land threats. But if I could sidetrack real quick just to kind of talk about land threats, I'm actually kind of excited that we have skeletons on a regular basis. Because I talked with you before we started recording, and the Discord has been at this. But if you don't know already, I finally got an Easter egg in the game. And I say finally because, I only say finally because I've known about this since May.
Oh, really? You've known that long? Oh,
yeah. I've known about this since May, and it's been really hard to keep secret. I didn't have to keep it a secret, but it was one of those things where I was only going to say something if it was actually going to happen. And it happened. So if you guys are out and you're doing Order of Souls missions, or you're fighting skeleton ships, or you're at a skull fort, keep an eye out for me, CaptainLogun, because I could definitely be one of those skeletons now. And just to give you guys a little heads up, some fun facts I found out about my Easter egg being a skeleton captain. As far as I know, I am the first non-deckhand and non-rare employee to become a skeleton captain. I'm also the only skeleton captain that has one name. Everyone else has some alliteration with their name, which I've always loved, the kind of like fun nicknames that they come up for the rare employees and stuff. But now I am up there with Cher and some of the other, like Madonna now. So I am CaptainLogun. I'm just one name.
Yeah.
So if you drop a couple Order of Souls missions, you might actually run into me. So if you see me, hit me up, let me know, because I would love to see how you're killing me. And I think it'd be great. And the fun little bit of that is instead of just having like an Easter egg at Keelhauled Fort, like most of us thought it was going to be, I now have the chance to actually be the skeleton captain defending Keelhauled Fort, which is really kind of crazy in my mind. I
think from now on, every time I see Keelhauled Fort up, I'm going to just make a beeline straight for it just to see if you spawn as the captain.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to the day where I can actually go and fight myself at Keelhauled Fort and get some good screenshots of it. Because immediately after I realized that, I was thinking like, oh, that's kind of like Zelda with Link fighting Shadow Link. That's going to look awesome.
Yeah.
And then one last little tidbit that I found out, Rare didn't know about this, but the 17th was when this patch dropped, and that's when the Easter egg went live. And July 17th is actually the 1-year anniversary from when I hit Pirate Legend last year. So awesome. It's kind of crazy to think like a year after I was able to open up the Pirate Legend Tavern. I was then inducted into the pool of skeleton captains for Sea of Thieves. So I'm really happy about this. I didn't think that was going to even be a thing when it came up. And just a huge thanks to all of the people involved at Rare, all of Rare for considering me to have an Easter egg, I do the podcast and I enjoy this game, and Falcore, I know yours is coming eventually, so I'm looking forward to seeing like what they end up doing for your Easter egg when it eventually makes its way into the game.
I've got a feeling they're going to troll me with my Easter egg. I can imagine like it'll be a dinner plate with a fried chicken on it or something.
Yeah.
I'd be like, oh, you guys.
Yeah. It would be fair. I mean, we've had a couple. We've had a couple punches at Rare, so it makes sense that they would do something fun in your sense of humor as well too. But yeah, so super excited about that. Rare, thank you so much, especially the main team. I really appreciate you guys considering this podcast worthy enough and what I do worthy enough to be considered to be put in the game. Is really sweet of you. So
yeah, it's awesome.
Sidetrack.
Happy for you, dude. It's cool. It's cool that you've got something in the game, because I mean, there's so many. I don't want to sound horrible when I say this, but quite frankly, there's a few people who get Easter eggs. I'm talking about people from ages ago when the game first came out. Mm-hmm. I don't want to say they didn't deserve them. That's the wrong terminology. But for example, like the guy who ate all the bananas in the alpha for Sea of Thieves, and then he got an Easter egg for it. I'm not saying I've got to be very careful how I word this, but I'm not saying it's necessarily not fair. But what I'm saying is that, it's nice to actually have an Easter egg for somebody who's, put a lot of third-party work into something and then have it brought into the game like that. And I'm seeing a lot more of that now from other content creators. I'm seeing a lot more things popping up for them. So it's really nice that not only are they just rewarding people for their achievements in the game, but now they're also rewarding people for their achievements outside of the game by helping, publicize the game and helping bring people toward it. So that's really, really nice to see. So for you to get an Easter egg in it is actually probably a really, really big triumph for the Sea of Thieves community. So yeah, it's great you've got one.
Yeah, I've really seen a huge change in how Rare is approaching the Easter eggs, and they've done some amazing ones in recent. I love Rocco's. I love the cat with the chicken dance and stuff.
That was amazing. Yeah.
The allegiance.
A lot of people. The allegiance ship, definitely. I was happy when I saw that, but the Rocco one, you've got no idea how many times people send me DMs and PMs or whatever saying that they found my Easter egg in the game and they're referring to the Rocco one. just because it's got chickens around it.
Yeah.
But they really disappoint me as well, because it's like, oh dude, I found your Easter egg, and I'm like, what, really, where, what? And then they show me the picture of that, and I'm like, oh damn it, Rocco. But
yeah, it's so funny. I love that. But his cat puppet mom, and I'm not even going to get into that conversation, but Rocco's the Allegiant ship where everyone came together and got the model ship to Rare just before anniversary, and the new one that just came out too with Foxdie, Kata, Toiger, and Omnom, getting the skeleton fort one where a bunch of snakes are surrounding a skeleton. And how they took down an entire skeleton fort with just a huge load of skeletons or snakes.
And actually, it's that Easter egg is pretty much, well, exactly on the spot they stood for the original screenshot of that achievement.
Yeah.
And I found out because I was playing with Foxy the other day, and he said that literally a microsecond after taking that screenshot, they all died from the snakes.
Oh wow!
And you can see in the screenshot that there's loads of venom coming their way. So they probably had to try and take that screenshot about 7 times. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, I love it. I think that was one of the cooler things I've seen. The other one I think was during Christmas when in the holiday season when they got a ton of little trinkets and mermaid gems, and Ron and a bunch of other folks decorated a skull fort to look like a Christmas tree all lit up.
That's right. Yeah,
that was one of the other ones that was just super cool to see. And but yeah, Rare's done an amazing job with the Easter eggs as of late, and they're really trying to commemorate some of the different events that happen in the game. And while a lot of the people don't, like, there's not really names attached to those Easter eggs, the people that did them know what they did, and anyone that knows has seen those things knows, that's their thing. And it's cool because people are going to wander across it and be like, oh, what the heck is that? And then if they do a little bit of digging, they're going to be able to find out, like, that was the community. That was actually
exactly something. In fact, there was somebody there was a Reddit post I came across a few days back, and somebody had posted a screenshot of the Allegiant ship. And they'd said, oh, does anybody know what this is? And somebody had replied with, oh, yeah, that's an Easter egg for the Rare team because they always sail in the Rare ship. And I thought, no, I've got to correct these guys. So I linked them my video with a story behind it. And lots of people were saying, people had never seen or knew about this thing, started to reply with, like, this is such a fantastic story. And, it's amazing that Rare put this sort of stuff in the game to say thanks to the players. And I was like, yeah, exactly. See, they're cool people. They're humans. They're not bureaucratical idiots like some game companies.
Yes. Yeah. It's such a cool, God, I love this company. Sorry. We've been gushing over Rare for at least 5 minutes.
Fangirling.
I know. I feel so. All right. So we're gonna get back to the show notes. You've been doing fishing galleons for quite a while on stream, and I haven't seen that happen too frequently as of late. No. And was that because they weren't doing well, or because you got tired of it, or was that just something like it didn't feel like the rewards were good enough?
It was a bit of a combination of things, really. Had a few bad experiences on a fishing barge. One, namely, actually was Shelley Preston actually turned up on the fishing barge. Sent me a message on Twitter saying, "Is there a free spot?"
Oh, nice.
And, I was like, "Yeah, sure." I was like, "Brilliant, yeah, come on board." And I won't name names here, but unfortunately, there was somebody on the ship that essentially fangirled Shelley Preston to the point where I think she left because she was getting sick and tired of this guy's requests and stuff. And he was basically asking her, too much information about the game, and then offering support and things. And I think she got a little bit kind of like, right, I'm going to go because this guy, I don't know. That's probably just my paranoia or something, but that's what it felt like. And if she's watching the podcast, that guy was not my friend. Just putting that out there. He's just some random person who joined the cruise.
Yeah.
But But yeah, sort of a mixture between stuff like that. I mean, that's just one occurrence that was quite embarrassing for myself because it was like, first time I'd sailed properly apart from the live streams with a dev. So and then to have this guy come along and just essentially embarrass me in front of Shelley Preston, I was just like, stop talking. But other things where people have joined, and what's happening now is I've got a lot of people who are joining my crew even when I'm not doing a fishing barge. They just think that because my friends are open, they're just allowed to join my crew without even asking first, and it's getting very, very irritating. So I've had to like kind of go into dark a little bit now, appearing offline all the time and making sure nobody knows I'm online. And also it's because of I found out that they found out through certain means that they were going to be updating the Hunter's Call reputation and the gold. So I thought, well, there's not much point in doing it now when I can be doing it even better in the future. So I just I didn't do Hunter's Call for quite some time, but starting to do it again now. But I've got a few more rules and regulations, as in only friends join me. I don't just open it up to everybody anymore.
Yeah. And
that was
just a little etiquette for anyone that's listening. If you do happen to know a content creator and are friended on Xbox, it's always worth it just to send a quick message and ask like if it's okay to join on them if they haven't gone in and purposefully turned off people allowing to join, because you don't actually know. They could be recording the next video, they could be recording footage, or they could be trying to find out something and not really playing the game. And because of that, it's hard for content creators to be like, I'm glad that you want to spend time with me. I appreciate that you want to hang out and chat, but I've got a different plan in mind, and I'm not actually planning on playing. I'm just planning on doing some other stuff, or maybe I just want alone time. And it's just a quick, hey Falcore, can I join? And that can make or break how receptive a content creator can be to having other people join them. Because sometimes
and also another thing to add is if they don't come back to you with either yes or no, that does not mean then join their crew, come on, then go over the microphone and say, hey Falco, I sent you a few messages and you didn't respond. Like no, if a person doesn't respond to you, then don't. Just leave it at that. Go about your business and do something else. Yeah.
I will say there's been loads of times where I've had friends message me though, and for whatever reason the apps on PC didn't get me the message or the notification. And I feel horribly bad, but those people usually know like that was a situation that I didn't see the message pop up, and I didn't get a chance to actually respond to them, and I probably would have loved to have sailed with them. But to kind of get back to the reason why I brought up the shipping or the fishing galleons, Hunter's Call update. We got a huge update, and it feels like the rewards have been definitely doubled, but I would almost go out and say that they've been tripled. And
I mean, I am happy for this new update with the rewards and stuff, but I am going to say that maybe tone it down just a little bit, just a tiny bit, because like before this update, I would spend an entire evening fishing, get 200 fish, hand them in, and then I would get like 20% of like a level, and this is like level 35 or something. The other night I went out fishing, and I think I got about 20 trophy fish, a couple of gems, 5 regular fish, and I handed it in, and I got like almost a level and a half for it. So it's like,
oh wow,
it's drastically gone up. So I think just maybe halving it to what it is now would probably be good. But it's all a learning curve, I suppose. Just gonna have to wait and see how this turns out, and they'll probably bring it down in future hopefully in future updates. But yeah,
and that's not the only thing that that they've changed too. Like you're talking about toning down things. They've gone through and really just kind of with a Nerf bat to the heads of skeletons, volcanoes as well as geysers or geysers. I guess you guys say geysers.
Geysers or geysers, yeah.
Why is it? I want to like. Can you speak to that at all? Living in the UK, does that?
It's the same here. It's the same here. Geysers or geysers. I guess it just depends on how you want to say it. Yeah, it's exactly the same. So,
can you? What do you call an old fart then? Because I call them geezers.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, in the UK, a geezer could be an old fart, but it could also be like, you know, the guy down the bottom of the road that tries to sell you 5 cans of beer for like, you know, £2. You know, don't talk to that geezer. You know, things like that. So. Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to look into that because I'm sure you're not supposed to call them geezers. I'm sure you're not. I'm sure they're supposed to be geysers. But somewhere along the line, somebody's gone, oh, we'll just call them geezers.
That's so funny. Yeah. Well, it's a fair. I mean, if it's a warning, you know, don't go talking to that geezer on the corner. You know, don't walk on the geezer because it's gonna blow you up. Yeah. That's too funny. I love it. I love the phonetic changes that come from just miles, like literally just a few miles across the sea.
Yeah. Exactly,
totally different thing. But yeah, getting back to the Nerf bat, Rare has decided that this game is too hard and does not deserve the Super Meat Boy level of difficulty that they are asking of pirates to dance around Eye of Reach skeletons. So Eye of Reach skeletons are now just going to be on skeleton ships, as far as I can tell. And I haven't seen any. And to be perfectly honest, carrying a bunch of gunpowder barrels around, I'm kind of okay with this.
Yeah.
Not getting sniped by 4 Eye of Reach skeletons during a Grey Morrow fight is I'm okay with that. I was having a little bit of frustration and a little fatigue.
Definitely.
And
also jumping off your boat to go and do an active fort and dying before you even hit the shore because four sniper skeletons have already killed you.
Yeah,
that's another one.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, if you guys are out and about in the world, you probably won't see Eye of Reach skeletons anymore. And this kind of harkens back to when they introduced the Eye of Reach skeletons, because a lot of people were like, the accuracy for flintlock pistol skeletons was so high that people were saying, were making jokes about how quote unquote Rare added skeletons with Eye of Reach guns, and they would come back with photos of flintlock pistols and be like, they were already in the game. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Dude, we already had this problem. Like you didn't have to give him another gun to make it look different.
Exactly.
So, but accuracy's down. Those are gone. Skeleton lords are balanced. How do you feel? Are you happy with that?
Well, I haven't actually experienced that yet. I haven't actually gone to, because I've done all the tall tales, so that I haven't really been doing them. But I don't know. Is it balanced as in they're slightly more aggressive now on sloops and not so aggressive on brigs? Is that how they've done it, or is it more just about the brigs and the galleons?
From what I can understand, they took the feedback from the community as well as influencers, and they tuned up the 2-person to make it a little more difficult, to last a little bit longer, and then they tuned down the brig so that it doesn't feel like you're fighting 1 person down. And I haven't had a chance to actually go fight them, but I'm looking forward to going and seeing how the Gold Hoarder fight is now in a sloop, to see if it's harder, and also to try it in a galleon to see if it's faster. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'll have to test that. Moving in, I kind of want to shotgun some of these changes. Mermaids are actually helpful. They spawn.
Yes.
They really do. It doesn't feel like it's a buddy trying to pick you up to go to a concert, and they're just running behind, and you're like, what the heck was going on? They're like, no, I don't know. I just wasn't leaving. I was in the middle of a Sea of Thieves game, and I wanted to turn in. Yeah. So they actually show up at a reasonable amount of time. Cursed cannonball effects have been reduced. Why do you think that is?
To put it bluntly, I think a lot of people were just being pansies about it. I think it's as simple as that. I think a lot of people are like, I don't like it when my ship gets and they were like, oh, okay, there. I think that's pretty much what it was. I mean, there's a few cursed cannibals that are very, very irritating, and they have made me rage quit a few times.
Yes.
But I mean, there is ways around it as well. So like, it all depends on, your awareness of what the encounter is, I guess you could say. I haven't actually experienced a lot of cursed cannibals from other players though, ever since cursed cannibals were introduced, apart from maybe the first couple of days. But I rarely get cursed cannibals flung at me now when I'm just,
I love them.
So, but yeah, so do I. I'm always flinging cursed cannibals at people, but never getting it back. So
that's so funny.
But yeah, I think that's literally what it is. I think all of these nerfs and stuff are just, I think they're really trying to bring people, new players, or rather the new players that have come to the game, the 2 million or something that have come to the game. I think they're trying to make it a lot more user friendly for them.
Yeah.
So they don't rage quit and disappear and become disgruntled about it. So yeah, I think that's what a lot of the changes are about. And also because of the mercenary voyages that we currently have. If we did have geezers or geysers going off as frequently as they did before this, doing the Athena Reaper's run would be a pain in the butt, quite frankly, because imagine you're digging up a stronghold keg and then a geyser goes up underneath it, game over instantly.
Yep.
So yeah, and same with the volcanoes not hitting your ship as much. But I'm a bit disappointed about the volcanoes though, not hitting your ship as much, because I find that quite entertaining.
Well, I mean, look, we have to be perfectly honest. The reason this change came in was because of Summit. If Summit hadn't put out his rant or his frustrations with the volcanoes messing up his tucking, this change wouldn't be in the game. So it's really his fault that volcanoes got tuned down and the roar isn't nearly as difficult. Yeah. So I mean, if you got to be careful what you wish for, because I mean, the game's being catered to babies now, so that's what you're gonna have to live with, Summit. Sorry, buddy. Hate to say it. You get what you ask for.
The Devil's Roar is going to be removed next patch, isn't it?
I think so.
Requested.
I think so. And we're going to get a skeleton cloud that has little horns on it, but the horns are just going to be like, it's a little band from Halloween, like a little goofy little headband with little horns on it. And it's going to have that and just some makeup. It's not actually going to have horns. Sorry, if you can't tell,
Looney Tunes music starts playing when you come close to it.
Yeah. So, just to kind of touch on that, by the way, you put out a really elegant video. If anyone hasn't seen this, and I've mentioned it before in the podcast, but you put out a really good video that kind of summarizes in a well-spoken way of the stuff that I've been talking about on the podcast for the last couple of weeks about how I do think there needs to be more monetary gain for people that like to go hunting other people, and that there should be more interesting forts that because right now, like if you do a fort, it's done, and then 5-10 minutes later there's another one up, and it doesn't quite draw people in as much as it used to when you knew it was only up every 3 hours, and people used to spend 3 hours fighting over it. So I could definitely see like having an event that really is rare and offers a lot more rewards. And to your point, I agree 100%. I was expecting the Molten Sands Fortress to be that fort. Like I was expecting, like, okay, well, you got a fort and it's butted up next to a volcano and it's out in the roar, so the supplies should be higher, and not the supplies, but the loot. The loot should be a lot higher value, and I totally agree. I think there should definitely be a bunch of really high priced items in there, like multiple stronghold items. 3. And that way, like, if you get it, awesome. If not, like, sorry, but have it be worth it, because it's not just butted up next to a volcano, but there's another one not that far from it. It's really hard to find a safe place to be out there.
I mean, the first time I did that fort, I hadn't seen what was inside it. I was with my crew at the time, and we had 2 volcano eruptions during the fort. So we had basically one guy on the ship pretty much the entire fort battle, constantly fighting the holes and the burning water and realigning the masts and, you know, all these. Actually, were the masts around then? I can't remember, but still. He was really fighting for the ship, and a few times a couple of us had to go back to the ship just to help him.
Yeah.
And the fort took, you know, a lot longer than the regular fort would take. Alongside that, we had people circling the island, so we had to fight them off. And it was probably a good 2 hours on one fort. And when we opened that vault and we saw the loot, in quotations, we were not best pleased. We were like, we've done all this work for literally exactly the same loot, but some of them are like Ashen, like we had an Ashen's captain's chest, and we still had like castaway chests in there. I'm like, really? Castaway chests? Really? But yeah. Bit of a bummer that was, but yeah.
It's tough, yeah. So it should be easier to go out there and get some of that stuff, but moving on to some of the other stuff in the show notes, or not the show notes, but the update. There is you can dig up bait now if you're out and about and you want to start getting some more fish turned in. You can go to islands and you can start digging up the bait. And I'm not claiming that I had this idea, but I can definitely go back to May and grab the tweet where I had suggested it would be cool if you could dig up different types of bait in different types of areas. So like, you know, grassy areas have earthworms, watery areas have leeches, and then dead animals have grubs, because it just kind of makes sense in my mind. And sure enough, Rare went and put digging up bait into the game, and I love it. I think it's great. I think it's a really immersive way to kind of
it's definitely one of the best quality of life improvements they've made in this patch, for sure. And being able to just like, because what I've been doing is just getting on a rowboat and going to like the unmarked islands, because nobody ever goes there, and then just sitting on the shoreline and just digging up the bait and getting the fish, digging up the bait, getting the fish, putting in my rowboat and going off to a sea post. It's a really nice, relaxing way to play the game. So yeah, definitely.
I love that. There is now notifications when someone joins and leaves your crew. So crew snipers, be warned. We know. There was I don't know if you've done this. Credit goes out to Gullible Gambit for turning me on to the information during one of his streams, when I found out about an accessibility option that came out thanks to some of the efforts by Special Effect, which is a great nonprofit out in the UK who helps give accessibility to folks through the Xbox. Oh man, I just blanked on what the name of the controller is.
Adaptive controller. Thank you.
Yeah. So they went out to Rare and they really kind of helped build out some accessibility options for folks to be able to use the adaptive controller as well as other types of controllers to better play the game and enjoy it the way that we enjoy it naturally. And one of the things that came out of this was a feature called Tap to Interact. And I don't know if you've turned this on, but if you haven't, you need to. Because this it's a game changer. This is something that, say, once you have this turned on, when you're normally playing the game, if you go to a cannon and you go to load a cannon, you have to hit the interact key and you have to hold it down to be able to load that cannon. That's just how you have to do it. Tap to interact is exactly what it is. When you hit the interact key on a cannon, you only have to hit the key. You don't actually have to hold it down, which means that once you hit it, as long as you're still looking at like a hole in your ship and you go to repair it, once you tap the button, It will automatically start loading. You won't have to hold it. And that makes
that's great.
That makes grabbing items faster. You can just run by an item, tap, and it will do the animation to hold it, and you can just keep running, and it will eventually pick up the item because of the way the servers work. You can pick up and drop items a lot faster. You can load cannons without having to hold it down, which is really nice when you're trying to aim it. And
sure.
you can just tap on repairing your ship, and it will actually fill up the hole. So
nice.
The way to find it, if you want to try this out, head into your options, go to the accessibility settings, and it's called Reduce Held Interactions, and that's the one that you want to turn on to try and get this feature. And I definitely love it.
Yeah, I'm gonna give that a go.
Yeah. And here's an interesting one I found in the notes. Resolved an issue allowing players to sprint while changing weapons in order to fire 2 shots in quick succession when wielding 2 guns.
Ooh,
I thought this was fixed, and then other people were like, "Nah, it's still in the game," and I'm like, "I can't replicate it, so it's above my skill." Yeah. But apparently, this was still a thing.
Oh, okay. Well, that's not very good.
Yeah, had no idea, but apparently this update has fixed the small gap of time that you were able to sprint, or at least tap the sprint key or button when changing weapons, so that it would treat it as if you had the weapon out and you were sprinting away from a skeleton, turning around and firing at it, effectively giving people an opportunity to double gun again.
Yeah.
So I hadn't mentioned this still being in the game for a long time, because it's not one of those things I wanted to get out into the wild, but there have been people that were still exploiting it. They have now resolved that, and I'm happy that the double gun exploit is hopefully dead.
Yeah, hopefully. They'll find another way, though. They always do.
Yeah, that's usually how it works. Let's see, what else? There was, cursed cannonballs that affect players. The commendations are now working again for skeleton kills. So if you kill a skeleton with a cursed or under the effects of the green cursed cannonballs, those should now apply to the proper commendations, allowing you to get the doubloons and the titles and stuff for those. Using a gunpowder keg to destroy a skeleton ship will now count towards the skeleton ship commendations, which I didn't know was a problem, but would definitely explain some of the times I'd killed skeleton ships and not ever gotten credit for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's it for the actual update notes. And I wanted to get into lore if you're up for it.
Yeah, sure. Always up for that.
Awesome. So with this update, we found out that Rare is doing monthly updates, and that the next one is going to be in mid-August. And it's called Dark Relics. And
ooh,
I'm excited. I am super excited. We'd been talking in DMs about this for a while, about what's going on at I-13. Because a couple patches ago, we saw that there was some stonework in a circle, and we kept trying to work out what it was. We kind of figured out that there's a chance it's going to be a Stargate, and that would be really awesome because we both want Stargates. And we'd also kind of, or you had mostly worked out that there are flowers by a gravestone that are in the same position as the warrior constellation. And this update, we got a change to the stone circles where someone's actually digging that area, but nothing's changed with the gravestone. And I'm kind of wondering, what do you think? Do you think that might be future stuff, or is that just not been toyed around with?
Yeah, I mean, I think I-13. I really don't know, but I'm just going by what the other tall tales were like. I've forgotten the island though, the one with the underwater cavern.
Mermaid's Hideaway.
The one needed for stars. Yeah, but no, it's an unmarked island. Is it is it L?
Oh,
It's the Stars of the Thief one quest, but it's quite a few quests actually. That's the point I'm trying to make, is that that island is used for numerous different tall tales, and I think they don't want to make it too obvious by adding too many things on the islands that everybody explores every day.
Mm-hmm.
They want to keep those to the Uncharted ones, so people, the average player is not going to accidentally come across it. So they're trying to keep. I imagine they're trying to keep all those things in the Uncharted islands. And since there's not a lot of Uncharted islands, which is a bit of a shame, I think that island at I-13, I think, is going to probably be used for like lots of tall tales. So I'm not sure if the warrior flowers, the hole in the ground, and also that TP with Merrick's photograph, Merrick and Derek's photograph, I don't know if they're actually going to be connected in any way. Well, they will be, but not from one tall tale. It'll probably be several to bring up the plot for something. That's what I'm thinking. The whole definitely is very, very interesting indeed, and especially because it's the same diameter. And I have actually done the steps to see if it is the same diameter as the stone circle seen in the Compass Vault on Shores of Gold. It's literally the same asset. So definitely ancient in design.
Yeah. So
really interesting.
I think we're both in agreement that we think that Dark Relics has something to do with the digging that's going on there. And this was kind of cool because it happened about a week and a half ago, I think, when Mike actually tweeted out a random tweet. And I love when Mike does these random tweets about Sea of Thieves, because he's having fun and he wants to share it, but he can't. And he mentioned that there is an effect that he's trying to see if it will work for a future update in the game. And the only reference he could make to it was to an 80s movies about He-Man, Masters of the Universe. And growing up, I loved that movie because the sword guy was just as badass as you can get. And I love that dude. He was like he was my Jason Statham when I was a kid. But that movie has a really weird thing called the cosmic key that gets in the hands of some of the humans on Earth, and then He-Man and all of them are trying to find it, and Skeletor's trying to find it because it opens a portal to be able to invade different planets. But you have to know what the melody is to open the portal to certain areas. And you did a really great video kind of tying everything together. But in those tweets, Mike had posted a picture of Skeletor from the cartoon series walking through a mirror and then putting his arm back through it and then punching the mirror so it broke, which I don't know how that works because I feel like his arm would have been cut off. But animation be animation back in the 80s, I guess. And that kind of led us when he posted that, I first thought that it was something to do with the kind of cool visual effect that they did for the cosmic key in that movie, and then you were thinking that it was portals, and that it would be tied to them opening portals. And I really loved your idea, and you loved my idea, and you put together everything in a really nice thing that said that there's a chance that maybe Dark Relics has to do with getting something that opens a portal that allows Flameheart to come into the Sea of Thieves.
Or some villain. But
a villain, who knows what it is. And so I'm fast tracking all this to get to a question. Do you think that what Mike was talking about in that tweet feels as close as the teases that we're getting for the digging that they're doing on that island? Do you think that that's something that's close, or do you think that what he's talking about is going to be further out?
Yeah, it's hard to say, isn't it? Because it's so cryptic. You don't know whether it's something that's just happening now or. The only thing I will say though is that if he's trying to look for, he's trying to get like a endorsement. There's no like copyright. Trying to avoid copyright infringement or something to see if he can use whatever this thing is. And I'm thinking things like that do take quite a long time, and with Dark Relics coming out on the 17th, well, presumably the 17th.
Yeah.
I don't think there would be enough time between that, like then and now, for that to all sort of come through and then be, for the rare stuff to be given the go ahead and for them to make the models for whatever it is. So I think that Dark Relics is possibly going to be kind of the foothold of what's to come. So I think we're going to get some more indications toward what all these things are that we've been seeing cropping up all over the place. But I have a feeling that it's not going to give us too much. It's not going to. It's literally going to be like an episode of Lost where you go into it expecting to see everything, and you come out with it with literally nothing but more questions than you had before. So I think I think that's what Dark Relics is going to do. It's going to be a real teaser for what's to come, and it's that's great because I mean, I think I've said a few times to various people that it's one of the main things I love about Sea of Thieves is that unlike other games, most of the lore isn't written in stone. Like a game like World of Warcraft, for example. I mean, that puts the Bible to shame, really.
It really does.
the lore that's behind that. So, but Sea of Thieves, a lot of the lore isn't written yet. So that's why I love to make videos on it, because you can speculate and you can think about what's going to come next without really having anybody coming along and saying, "Oh, actually, you're wrong because in paragraph 3, whatever."
Yeah.
So I think that's what Dark Relics is going to do. It's just going to give us even more questions, which is great. And that's what I love about this whole monthly thing that's coming out. It's going to turn Sea of Thieves into a living comic book, so to speak. So, yeah. We'll just have to wait and see what they do.
Yeah, and I'm hoping that with Dark Relics, we'll actually get to. Hopefully, because of Sea of Thieves Origins comics being the second one that we got with the with the merchants, I'm hoping that Dark Relics will either be the Gold Hoarders or the Order of Souls, and we'll hopefully get the first comic book release of that series, because right around that time is going to be about a year from when they announced that comics were going to be coming that are focusing on the actual origination of the trade companies. And I'm looking forward to whatever crazy stuff, like if Dark Relics is something that is going to be ancient in nature or merfolk in origin, or something that was created as a result of the skeleton's curse. And if it's going to tie into any of those three things, because at this point, I feel like the three main threats that we could potentially find in the game that could be coming revolve around those three things. It's either going to be something that's ancient or possibly even outside of Sea of Thieves, the skeletons coming back for whatever reason, or merfolk at this point.
Also the I keep on forgetting the name, the Maritime Union as well. But I don't think the Maritime Union would have anything to do with Dark Relics. So I think the Maritime Union is probably going to be something we see later on. But
it'll be interesting to find out.
For sure. Yeah, I wonder what it's going to be as well. I wonder if it'll just be. I'm kind of hoping it's not going to be like another Reaper run sort of thing, like. Duke says, "Hey, we've been finding dark relics on seafronts. Go out and find them 20 times, and you get some doubloons." Yeah. I hope it's more kind of not necessarily a tall tale, but something. So I'm along those lines.
Yeah. So I'm going to be perfectly honest. I kind of miss the Bildrad adventures, like the full out kind of big adventure, like with the Festival of the Damned and Cursed Cruise. Not the Beacons or the Thrones. I hate those. Don't want those back. But the ones where they actually build up a big thing around it. I love these voyages, but they're definitely something to chew on as or snack on as I'm waiting for something heftier to come across. And I don't know if it does end up being something like a mercenary mission. I could totally see Duke the Dark Lord being kind of at the helm of this drive towards finding these dark relics, as it seems like he's trying to establish his own trade company with maybe some recruitment. But there's so many balls up in the air as far as lore goes, with the Tall Tales coming out, with us finding more puzzle vaults out in the Roar, with the digging on I-13. And it's interesting to find out kind of where Rare is going to be going in the future with their next bit of story that they want to tell, because they literally have it left open to just about anything. And I posted an idea to you, and I wanted to kind of see what your thoughts on it. When we did Forsaken Shores, that was when we kind of found out about the Forsaken Alliance, with Morrow and her crew being killed in Stitcher Jim. And Stitcher Jim was introduced to the game before he was actually introduced in the book Athena's Fortune. And in the book, we found out that he is actually partnered with the Gold Hoarder, Wrathbone. And they were set up out at Snuggler's Bay. And with the Forsaken Alliance, because I was out hunting for Easter eggs, I went back and started reading some of those old journals left on the islands. And one out by Ruby's Fall talked about how Stitcher Jim, when they found the box of secrets, he looked into it, and that was when he kind of changed. And that was kind of when he kind of made an interesting, change in his personality. And you've discovered, based on the ruins in language from one of the Tall Tales, that the markings on the box say Flameheart. And I'm wondering if there was something in the box that we don't know what it is, that Stitcher Jim saw, that made him change his allegiance from Wrathbone as the Gold Hoarder to Captain Flameheart. And the reason we haven't seen him is because Flameheart came and rescued him somehow. The Burning Blade picked him up. But for whatever reason, Stitcher Jim will make a return, but flying the flag of Flameheart. What do you think?
That would be awesome. That would be very awesome. The one thing I will say, though, is actually a YouTube comment I got. It really got me thinking. And they said that the Box of Wondrous Secrets is kind of sealed with wax and has a wax seal on the front of it.
Yeah.
And he said from historically, that's what people used to do, to make sure that nobody could tamper with something. So when it got to the sender, that person would know that it hadn't been tampered with whilst it went through the mail or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And he said that maybe this box could have been. There could be several of these boxes that are supposed to be sent out to Flameheart. So it's not necessarily a box from Flameheart. It's more that it's somebody is sending out these boxes to Flameheart, but they're being knocked off the ship or whatever. And we are intercepting them. And I think Stitcher Jim might have intercepted one of these as well. And that's when he peered into the box. He found out some secrets that people didn't know about. And like you said, that could very easily have turned him towards Flameheart's cause, either mentally or like magically.
Yeah. That's a really,
for sure.
That's a really interesting thought. I hadn't considered the fact that these probably could be parcels to him from someone.
Yeah.
And
the only, I think the front says Flame to Heart on it as well. So this person said that it could actually say to Flameheart.
Yeah.
Because the way that the emblems are, the 2 is higher than the Flameheart, so it could be to Flameheart.
Yeah.
That's what it could be saying on it. So yeah, it's probable.
Which would make a lot of sense. And it's written in skeleton ruins. So if this was from one skeleton lord to another, then that would be interesting to find out, like who's, because we only know of, because a lot of what we found out was Captain Flameheart, before he got changed, was son to a captain, and his father, who I guess would be Captain Flameheart Sr. And we still don't know anything about him. and what happened to him. No. But we know that Flameheart went out to try and be the better pirate. And because of the chalice that they found and the fate of Flameheart, that went way wrong as a result. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see who's sending Flameheart these packages and what's in these packages, if that's the case, and what Stitcher Jim is trying to do to preserve his own life, possibly trying to gain power.
Yeah.
And I wonder if we're going to find out that the next time we see Jim, he's going to be a skeleton.
That would be awesome. Still with his little ginger haircut.
Hopefully. I feel like he has to. Wanda still had her haircut, so I totally think I think that Jim should definitely retain his haircut. Was there anything that I've missed that you can think of lore-wise that you wanted to touch on?
The one thing that another YouTube comment, actually, there's actually a lot of my YouTube comments lately. I seem to have picked up like quite a large lore seeking following.
Nice.
Because I've had some comments on my YouTube videos that have actually made me think. Because majority of the time, people just comment problems with the game. Don't even watch the video and just say like, this game needs bunny rabbits or something.
I mean, they're not wrong. Let's be honest. The game needs bunny rabbits. And it's probably definitely. Big Sheep that's asking for them.
Yeah. They mentioned about the Mermaid Gems showing up everywhere. Mm-hmm. And they said, they put it quite well, because they said, Mermaid Gems are being washed up on all the shores. Mermaid Gems can be found in shipwrecks, and Mermaid Gems can be found inside forts. And I was like, yes, that's correct. And they said, so and we all know that you get those Mermaid Gems by destroying the statues. And I was like, yeah. And they said, and when we destroyed those statues in the Sunken Curse update, when they were first introduced, before they had, gems inside them, we were getting commendations and titles that were called the Curse Breaker and things similar to that. And he said that maybe these statues of the mermaids everywhere do actually hold the original mermaids inside them, but they're cursed. And, but basically what's happening is these statues are actually breaking open of their own accord, setting free the mermaids, which is why the gems are being found all over the shores. And he said, secondly, it could be that somebody's breaking those mermaids because they're harnessing curses. Mm-hmm. And that really got me thinking, because I was like, he's making a good point, because it probably is just a game mechanic thing at the end of the day. But if you look at it from a lore perspective, that the only way to get those gems is by breaking those statues. So either somebody's going out and breaking them, and whoever that is, we don't know, which is why they're being washed up everywhere.
Yeah.
But also, we're finding them inside shipwrecks, and the 2016 cinematic for Sea of Thieves has the mermaids sort of looking around a shipwreck, and one of them's holding something that looks very, very similar to the gem that you can find inside all of the mermaids. So it could be that theory that they're actually breaking free of their curse, and they're coming back to the Sea of Thieves, which is why we're seeing the gems everywhere. But I thought that was two really, really good theories.
Yeah,
as to why they're there.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I've always thought that the statues that we have are wards against something. I don't know why, because in a lot of different, I don't know if you'd call it religions or not, but a lot of beliefs feel like crystals and gems can harness energy, or at least hold energies, different energies, and a lot of people use them for healing properties or for focusing, things like that. And there's definitely a power level, or at least a value attached to different types of gems that we have in the game. And I kind of wonder if the statues, depending on the power level, how much effort it takes to destroy one of these statues, are designed to ward against different things from coming near them, and what they might be warning people of, or at least protecting others from. And I wonder if these statues aren't erected elsewhere as kind of a way to protect like a merfolk city where they're kind of used as a way to prevent things that would normally be wandering into it. I'm thinking kind of Wakanda has like this giant hologram field that protects their city from visibility, in the sense that these are kind of wards against sentries, kind of like to pull a reference that you might appreciate, the Neverending Story. They had the statues that had to judge a hero based on their character. These statues are in place to try and test you to see, like, can you withstand them, or can you hold up against them? Because we've seen them. We've seen them in other areas where they're actually designed to teleport people as well. And depending on the type of mermaid it is, it's either going to use powers to teleport you somewhere so that mermaids could possibly travel faster from one place to another, or help people travel from above ground to a safe place below water, the other mermaids are used as defense turrets, in a sense, to try and prevent people from coming at them. And I'm wondering if maybe at some point we'll actually have to break down a barrier of these statues to try and get into somewhere to try and see different merfolk and find out what's going on with that.
Yeah. The other theory I had quite a while ago now, and it's some ways been kind of proven wrong, I guess you could say. But at Discovery Ridge, is it Discovery Ridge? Yes, at Discovery Ridge, where they've got all those. Hang on, there's a boat going past. I don't know if you can hear that.
I can. You have a boat nearby?
Yeah. I live right next to a dock. So
is it your boat? Are they stealing it?
No, it's not. No, unfortunately not.
Why don't you have a boat?
Okay.
Come on, Falcore.
I ask myself this question every day, because it wouldn't cost that much to get myself just a little dinghy with some oars,
Where's all that YouTube money going?
Yeah, exactly. Mortgage, mostly. But
you need a boat.
Yeah, what was I going to say?
Discovery Ridge.
The mermaid statues.
Yep.
Yeah. There's quite a few emblems on there that show that the mermaids go through 3 different
phases,
transformations. Yeah. And it's kind of like, it's weird with the lore, because there's some of the lore says that mermaids have been here since the beginning of the Sea of Thieves. And then there's other lore saying that you can turn into a mermaid if you're bitten by one. And there's also a little bit of lore somewhere saying that you can turn into a mermaid if you fall in love with one. So I'm like, so what, are mermaids a thing, or are they more like a parasite? You know what I mean? Were they here before, or anyway? I'm not sure. Also, the cave paintings at Discovery Ridge, some of them kind of signify that mermaids are a bit like a werewolf. So during the day, they're like, normal humans, but when it gets to a certain, like a full moon, for example, they turn into a mermaid. So there's lots of these different conflicting things, but I did have a theory that maybe there's 4 levels of evolution, I suppose you could call it. So you start off as a human, you turn into the merfolk that we see in the seas that help us back to our ships. Then you turn into the evil merfolk that we're yet to see, apart from a few teased screenshots of them. And then the final transformation, this is just a theory, the final transformation is they turn to stone and they become the evil, the stone mermaids that we see in the water. And that's why the title that we got was called the Curse Breaker, because we're essentially breaking the curse of them being a mermaid. So essentially that jewel that we're holding and the jewel that we handed could, in essence be a mermaid soul in kind of, in a manifested form. That's another theory behind it. But there's so much. This is the thing. This is what I love about it. There's not enough lore surrounding mermaids for you to make a definitive yes or no answer to how they got here. Were they here before? Is there different types of merfolk? Is there the parasitical form and then the original ones, bit like kind of the original bloodline of vampires versus the milk down version ones, things like that. So
I'm so glad you brought that up. I've been like this whole time I've been listening and I'm just like, he's describing vampires. Like, does he realize he's describing vampires? These are the vampire or sea monsters that he's talking about. Like you get bitten by one, you turn into one. Yeah, that makes sense. You fall in love with one, you get turned into one. Yeah, that makes sense. You know, you're old blood, and you're just an original vampire. Yeah, that makes sense. It's like, does he know?
Yeah.
He's got to know. Like, that's just. I mean, it's right there. Yeah. No, I love that theory. I like that theory a lot because that kind of ties in with an old love of mine, which was a Gargoyles cartoon from Disney back in the 90s, where they would turn to stone during the day and they would turn to normal gargoyles during the night. And the thought of them turning into stone after, you know, when they go into their last, you haven't even seen me in my final form, you know, that's such a cool idea that the gems themselves are powerful because of them being previous merfolk. So that's really interesting. I like that theory. I can't wait to see how that kind of comes about. With the show, I always love to do stories from the community if I don't have one, and then ones that I have as well. If you want, it's up to you. I'll give you the opportunity. If not, I'll do it. But there is a First Mates log in the show notes, and I was wondering if you would do me the honor of reading it.
Sure, yeah, I can do that. I'll just hang on, just get the show notes.
Yeah, so if you guys want, I have a Discord server. It's a great place for people to come in and spend time with each other and play Sea of Thieves as well as other games. The show notes always have links to the Discord as well as all of my social contacts. And if I have guests like Falcore, I always have links to their content and where you can find them as well. So if you want to have your First Mates log read on the show, especially if I can get Falcore to do it because he's got a lot more clout than I do, then I would love to have you join up on the Discord, be able to have a good group of people to play with, and have an opportunity to have your story shared with the rest of the Keelhauled community.
There it is. Is it? I don't know how to pronounce that. You said it already, and I've forgotten. Is it Leath?
Oh, Leath. I think it's Leath. Yeah. So
Leath.
So this one is in response to last week's episode when Evil Monkey had written a First Mates log where he had basically said that someone in a brig sailed up and dropped an Athena's chest on his at his feet. And I got a YouTube comment from that person, or not that person, but who I thought that person was, actually explaining like what the situation was, and I didn't realize it.
Right.
And to have someone send a comment into YouTube's saying like, "Hey, this is what happened," I was pretty surprised. So, go for it.
Okay. So it says, "Well, I was just sailing the seas, practicing my tucks on ships. Then I saw Monkey's sloop in a distance sailing towards the storm, so I shot over and landed in the water just before the ladder was going to pass me. I boarded and tucked next to the cannon. I saw him jumping around the ship and thought he saw me, but then he went to the very front of the ship and started using the sleeping emote."
Yes.
I don't know whether that's my bad grammar or whatever.
YouTube comments. That's
yes, of course, yeah. That's when I just decide to look around for another ship, and that's when I saw the brig at Cove, and then from there is Monkey's story. It was honestly the funniest and weirdest experience I've ever had in a game. Cool.
Yeah. So this was crazy. To know that someone had actually snuck aboard a ship, was just practicing their tucks, because I guess that's a fun thing to do on the game. Yeah. And they saw that a brig had rolled up, and the person, I guess it was their first Athena's chest, and they decided they wanted to give it to someone instead of turning it in for themselves. So they just barely hit Pirate Legend. They just dug up their first Athena's chest and decided to give it to Monkey as a gift. So that was so crazy.
Yeah.
And then, let's see, I'm going to go ahead and skip that. And then Johnny, the Truth Teller from YouTube, posted a comment and says, "Seems to me like they're trying to make the game too easy. Why would they mess with the Devil's Roar? It's supposed to be hard. Are they dumbing down the game for unskilled players to be able to play better? I hope not." And I can see where he's coming from. He likes having the challenge from the roar, and the roar has always been something where it's the environment is the threat as opposed to like a megalodon or a ghost ship or a kraken. And do you think that his concerns are valid? Do you think that they should keep the roar as hard as possible?
Yeah, I do think they should keep it as hard as possible. I really do. I mean, I can understand for a new player going to the Devil's Roar would be like, you know, completely overwhelming and they would probably die more than they would do anything. But that's kind of the point. You know, it's like you don't have to do the Devil's Roar. You've got the easy mode, which is the regular world. And then you've got a step up to get better rewards. So a lot of people do complain, you know, I don't go to the Devil's Roar because it's too hard. And that's a good thing, you know, like you should go to the Devil's Roar when you get a bit more skill. And then you think, oh, actually, no, I can take this on. But they're kind of merging Devil's Roar into being just like the regular world, but it looks different. And that's pretty much it. I mean, I wouldn't say they've nerfed it too much, but I think they shouldn't do it anymore now. I think they should leave it as it is. Yeah, I think dumbing it down anymore is just going to make it just a completely, you know, pointless place to go. Well, no, actually, won't make it a pointless place to go. It'll be the place where everybody goes because, you know, it's
more
no
valuable.
point in doing the regular quests anymore because you can just go to the Devil's Roar.
Yeah,
which isn't what it should be like. It should be, you know, you should fear the Devil's Roar. You should be able to think, oh, you know, oh crap, I'm going to the Devil's Roar. This is going to be tough. Not, oh, let's just go to the Devil's Roar because it's been nerfed again.
Yeah.
You know? So
yeah. I agree. There's a reason why you don't spawn in the Roar, for very good reason. Yeah. And I definitely think that the Devil's Roar is that kind of escapism for the people that like to have the higher value treasure and the threat of constantly having to deal with other pirates, skeleton ships, megs, krakens, all that jazz out there, as well as the volcanoes and such to have to try and get you with the smaller amount of supplies. The last thing that I wanted to let people know about, and the reason I'm putting it at the end, is because I want to make sure that people have this in the forefront of their mind as they're finishing up this podcast, and that's the Tall Tales Rivals stuff that we are getting Obsidian liveries on Tuesday and Wednesday. They're going the 23rd and the 24th. They're going to be doing Twitch Rivals, which if you go to the link in the show notes, you can link up your Twitch account to your Sea of Thieves account, and you can watch 30 minutes on each day to get the cosmetics for these Obsidian green and black sails, hull, figurehead, and flag. I'm definitely doing this. I think these look absolutely fantastic. I can't believe they're just giving these away.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
It's insane to me that that something this beautiful wasn't saved for a reward for like the weekly streams, like giving out weekly rewards and stuff. And I'm wondering, we've seen leaked or not leaked, but you know, eagle-eyed community members have noticed that there are obsidian cannons available as well at some point in the future. What do you think about them going into Twitch Rivals with the arena?
Well, I mean, I personally think that this obsidian chipset should have been either saved for, like you said, for Sea of Thieves streams. But I think actually this should have been the stuff we got with this Tall Tale. Not Tall Tale. This Reaper's Run. This should have been. We should have got these cosmetics with this Reaper Run, because the problem I'm seeing at the moment is, and I think this is a reason why they're bringing out these Reaper's Runs and all this sort of stuff, is because there's no nicer way to say this, but the player base is dwindling at the moment, and I think this is why they're bringing in the Reaper's Runs again to try and bring people back who have kind of lost the buzz of the Tall Tales and stuff. And I mean, it always happens after every expansion. You get what I like to call post-expansion blues, where people are like, well, I've seen everything now, you know, not going to play that tonight. I'm going to carry on in my Witcher 3 or something. But the rewards you get from this Reaper Run, although they're very cool looking, the figurehead is nice, the sails are nice, they're not really that much different from what we've got in the past. There's nothing that really stands out about them. Yeah. So yeah, I think these should have definitely been the reward for the Reaper's Run, and the Reaper sales that we've got now should have been the reward for Twitch Rivals. It should have been done the other way around. But Yeah, I'm hoping in future things like this, they don't give away such advanced things all in one go like this, because the Obsidian set, which is what this set is, we've had the Onyx set, the Black Dog set, which are all of the same set.
Yeah.
They've been sort of trickling that out over time, and it's been a sort of a collection. We've been collecting it all. So there's only a few, well, not a few, there's a few hundred people who have the entire set. You know, they have the pistol, the sniper rifle, the Black Dog clothes and all that. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh, by the way, here's the entire ship hull for you, and you only have to watch half an hour of Twitch Rivals. It's like you could have spanned that out a little bit more, you know. You could have made it so that we collect it over a course of months.
Yeah.
To make it a little bit more unique. Because everybody's going to have that hull.
Yeah.
In the next couple of weeks. It's going to be the new Halo set. Everybody's going to have it. It's going to be, you know, the new Basapian ship, as I like to call it.
Yeah.
It's always wearing stuff that you got for free.
It's true. Yeah. And I commend Rare for finally coming out with an Obsidian set. I've loved this set for a long time. I checked yesterday. I don't have any of the Obsidian items in my equipment right now. Like aside from the Obsidian sword and the Obsidian flintlock pistol, I actually don't wear any of the set anymore. And a lot of it's because there's other different things that they've come out with. And it's so weird that the Obsidian set has been the one set that they have consistently put out that is outside of the game naturally. You have to get the Obsidian set through means outside of just playing the game. And it's interesting to think, like, you know, the mentality behind that, and to have like the cannon, the capstans, and the helms being held back. I'm hoping that those are something that replace the Obsidian set that the team is currently using for their weekly streams, so that instead of getting like the equipment for it, you start getting the livery set stuff for that.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah, because we've been going on about 10 months of Obsidian set equipment, and a lot of people still win it, but I think they've given out somewhere between 3 to 6 codes, and that's been 40 weeks worth of sets. So you figure there's a small population that have won those codes, and I think that it's time that they make those available in the game for anyone, and they start bringing out these liveries as a way to incentivize people to tune in every week to win a code for these. Yeah. So I wanted to give you the floor and offer you the opportunity to talk about anything that you want. Is there anything that you wanted to chat about that you've been wanting to discuss?
Well, there is one thing, and that's that on Twitch, if you time somebody out for 1 second. No, just kidding. It says 1 second. Come on, Twitch. No.
That's, oh God.
I can't really think of anything off the top of my head, actually. The only thing I think I can possibly mention is that with this Twitch drops thing that they've incorporated with this thing happening with Twitch Rivals, I really do hope that things like that become more prevalent in the future, like, you know, making it easier for people to get loot from the Sea of Thieves streams by incorporating their Sea of Thieves account, rather than, you know, having that kind of code system that comes up on the screen and everybody's got to dash to the right monitors. I think it would be nice in the future to have a system in place where we can get these liveries or whatever they're offering just by, you know, coming along and being part of the show. It'd certainly drop the amount of people constantly asking in the comments when they're doing these live streams, because it happens every live stream. You can't read the comments without people just going, do another giveaway, when's the next giveaway, what did they already do a giveaway, did I win this one, you know? So if they had something like that where people could just watch, the stream, and then people get the stuff just by sitting there and watching it, like they do on Mixer. Then that would be great. So I think this Twitch drops thing may be sort of a indication of things to come for Sea of Thieves streams, which I think would be a cool thing. But yeah, like Captain Logan said, get onto the Sea of Thieves website, get your Twitch account. If you don't have a Twitch account, go get one just for this. Get it all linked up to your Sea of Thieves thing. You don't even have to watch Twitch Rivals. You just have to have it on a different screen in the background, and then you will get your stuff, and possibly not straight away. So remember that, because a lot of people are like, I watched for half an hour and I haven't got it yet. It's been at least 10 seconds.
Yeah.
So, it'd probably be like 72 hours like it usually is. And knowing Rare will probably mess up a little bit, and some people won't get it. But we don't hold that against them.
Yeah.
Unless if it happened to me, then I would.
Yeah. At which point we would be on the Twitter being like, I can't believe I watched this and I haven't got it. Do you know who I am? I am Captain Falcore, beginner.
Don't you know I have nearly 50,000 subscribers?
I made this game.
I'm going to make a video about this.
I saved this game. I can kill it. No.
So many people say that about me, like, oh, this game would have died if it wasn't for you. And I'm like, no, that's not how it works. It's really not how it works. If this game, the reason you play the game is because you like it. It's got nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that.
Yeah. It's so funny. I had a thought while you were talking about this, and I have to toss this out there. If they start doing Twitch drops and mixer pots and stuff like this, where they're giving out cosmetics, do you think this devalues the idea of potentially what's post pets in the microtransaction world?
I don't know, to be honest. It depends what they do for microtransactions in the future. We just don't know yet, do we?
Well, we know they're hiring, and we know that they're looking to have someone come in to help kind of guide the direction for what microtransactions are going to be. And yeah. I'm once again audibly putting my name in the hat for that job. Just you gotta fly me, my wife, and 2 cats out to the UK and hire me so that I can do that. But I will bring you money. I will bring you all the money. But yeah,
if you get the job, just don't do loot boxes. All right, never do loot boxes.
No, I
random loot boxes.
Yeah, no, I 100% appreciate people's money, and I think that with that's what I love about Rare. That's why I'm willing to spend money for Rare, because they've never strayed on the mentality that they want to be 100% transparent with anything that they do with the future of the game. But I'm kind of worried that these Twitch drops, if we're getting full sets of liveries for an hour's worth of time over the course of 48 hours, how is that going to impact the mentality behind asking players to pay for something as cool as this for microtransactions and like in WoW in WoW, people get so hung up over Rare or over Blizzard either making mounts that they sell for, I think it's $25 for a mount, either making those mounts so cool that people are like, I can't believe I have to spend money on this just to have this really cool mount. That's ridiculous. I should be able to earn it in game because I'm already paying a monthly subscription. And then there's other people who are like, I can't believe they're asking money for this mount. It's ugly. Why would I want to spend that money? That's a waste of digital space that they could be putting towards making the game better. So it's like Blizzard can't win on that front. And
no,
this is kind of where I'm starting to wonder how things are going to go with microtransactions post pets, because I feel like pets are going to hate. I think they're going to nail pets. I think pets are going to be a really fun thing, but it's not pets it's not pets that I'm worried about. It's what comes after pets that I'm really worried about. Yeah. And I
hope it's not mounts.
Why?
Dragons and
look out! It's Falcore. He's on a giant chicken. He's flying in. He's gonna kill us.
Oh, actually, now you come to think of it, yeah, definitely get mounts. A mountable Larry would be something quite awesome.
Just your pirate riding in across the ground. You're like, hi-oh, hey peeps,
Yeah.
Falco here to
Yeah.
help you guys out with this skull fort. What seems to be the trouble? Falcor, why are you on a duck? Because chickens can't swim. Duh.
Yeah. Plus the duck was cheaper on the store.
Yeah. The duck was 10 pounds. The chicken was 15.
Yeah. This is in 2022, and I'm like, they still haven't released Larry as an Easter egg, so I had to make do with this duck. just pretend it's Larry.
If you squint your eyes and see it across the horizon with a purple flame up against it, you can kind of make out that it looks like Larry.
Yeah.
It's just here's what Rare needs to do. Rare needs to dedicate an entire event just to you and Larry. They need to make a giant rooster head cloud in the sky that's over Tribute Peak, and you have to get the Shroud Breaker to go out there. And once you get out there, it is literally you fighting millions of Larrys flying through the air, attacking you like you're Link, and you hit a Kukos too much, and now a swarm of Larrys are just attacking you, and that's the whole fight. That's it. Yeah. You just have to survive that.
Yeah, that sounds good. But really gory as well, like the scene out of Monty Python and the Holy Grail with the little rabbit.
Yeah, that definitely has to be a thing.
Run away!
Run away! Run away! Use the whole. No, oh man, yeah, I love that film. All right, so I think that's gonna do it. We've been going for a while now, and I was hoping to keep it around an hour 30, but I just kept having ideas. Falcor, where can people find you if they don't know you?
They can find me at Twitch at Captain Falcore, and they can find me on YouTube at Captain Falcore. And you can also usually find me in a bus stop crying.
It's important that you know that last bit, because a lot of people love bus stops, but not a lot of bus stops love people. And
exactly.
Emotions run high. I don't, sorry.
Just call 0800 155. Helping people with bus stops day by day.
Bus stop recovery. We're gonna end there. That's the show, folks. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for listening every week, and I hope you have a really good time with this update. If we missed something or if we got something wrong, that's just the nature of conversation, but feel free to let me know. You can always hit me up on the socials. CaptainLogun@gmail.com is the email address for the show. You can always reach myself at CAPT_LOGUN on Twitter. And find us on Twitch when we're streaming, and come say hi, Falcor. And he loves it. He loves it so much.
Yes.
That's going to do it for the show. Thank you, pirates. I love you, and I look forward to sailing with you on the Sea of Thieves.
I don't.